So I was journaling this morning and I came up with an exercise that I wanted to share with you and tell you my experience with this exercise so far. This is something that you might want to try for yourself. Now, what prompted me to come up with this exercise or even start thinking about this was something that I read in a book last night, and it was a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza. He said in this book, You Are the Placebo, that the modern studies in psychology suggest that 70% of our thoughts are negative. 70%, so that's a lot. Now, I'm sure you're aware of the power of your mindset and the power of positive thinking, at least at some level. I've been studying this for a number of years now, and I'm hyper aware of how important positive thinking is in our results in general. But when I saw that the studies showed that 70% of our thinking is negative, I thought, well, that's not me. And then I thought, oh, I wonder if that's negative. And I just started wondering, am I among the population where 70% of my thinking is negative? Because if you asked me, I would tell you that more like 80% plus of my thinking is positive. That's truly what I believe. Now, I've also worked on this a lot over the last, 20 plus years. So in any event, if I tell you about what I read further, it's going to be even more alarming for you. So here's what else is true. It's the statistics in the book show that we think about 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Okay, this is not new information for me. I know that we have a whole lot of thoughts that go on. So 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. I also know that about 95% of the thinking that we have in any given day is habitual, right? So what does that mean? It means it's outside of our conscious awareness. It is unconscious and habitual thinking. So I put all these different statistics together from two different chapters in the book. If we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, 95% of these are habitual, 70% of them are negative, then we're really in deep shit, right? Because that means that this negative thinking is outside of our conscious awareness. So what's the real opportunity? It is to be aware of the negative thinking. Well, again, not new information. I know this. And yet, when presented in that way and thinking further about it, I thought, I wonder if I'm fooling myself. I wonder if I'm in denial about how much my thinking is positive versus negative. So I thought, okay, what about we do an exercise? And so I come up with this exercise, and it is to, on a regular basis throughout the day to day, set my alarm, and about every hour, check in on my thinking. Just check in on where are my emotions in the moment, because you can't always capture the thought. But if you do a check-in, you say, okay, where's my emotion right now? What will you find? So as I'm thinking about this exercise, I thought, well, how many people, if I were to give this exercise out to the world, how many people would actually be able to identify their emotion in the moment? So I thought, let's not overcomplicate this. Let's start off with just, is it positive or is it negative, right? Because we can all do that. So at any given point in time, if I just stopped you right now in this moment and said, where's your emotion? Is it positive or negative? That should be easy enough to answer, right? So here's my brilliant idea. I say, okay, I'm going to set my alarm, and then at least every hour, I'll just do a check-in. And whenever that thing goes off, wherever I am in the moment, I can just like catch it and see, am I positive? Am I negative? And if these statistics hold true, 70% of my check-ins should be negative. Okay. So, all right. I send this idea out to one of my groups that I have in my text thread. And I say, okay, who's with me? Who wants to join in? And all of them said yes, they were excited, they were in. And so they're all doing this exercise with me today, by the way. Now, my very first alarm goes off. And I'm actually at that point on my Peloton. I'm about 2/3 of the way into a ride. I was just at a part, it was kind of a tough part, and I'm totally into it. I'm kind of feeling joyful and energetic and excited and like, all that emotion that you get. Those of you who have Peloton, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And all of a sudden, my music shuts off and I hear what I think is my phone ringing. And my immediate reaction is, who the F is calling me right now? I'm in the middle of my workout and damn it, right? And so I went to immediate like annoyance / frustration. definitely a negative on the positive or negative scale. And then I recognized it was the alarm that I set to check in on my emotions. So, what did I learn? Well, I learned stage one, step one, that setting the alarm to do this check-in might not be the best way of going about things, because if I get annoyed every time I get distracted, then I'm going to have problems. But what a great awareness for me that my initial reaction in interruption is annoyed, is frustrated. That's not good. And if you think about my day throughout the day, how many times do I get interrupted in a day? It probably happens more than I'm even aware of. And if I have that unconscious, maybe not quite like I was on my Peloton, not swearing at people or things, but if I have that unconscious moment of just automatic annoyance or frustration, gosh, what if that 70% plays out? So I thought I would share with you my first fail, but a great exercise. And I would love it if more of you would try this exercise with me. So here's how it goes. I want you to somehow, some way, remind yourself all throughout the day to check in on your emotional state. And for right now, I just want you to name positive or negative as the emotional state that you're in. If you can go deeper than that and actually describe the emotion. So for me, it was negative and it was frustrated / annoyed. So if you can go deeper and actually describe the emotion, that's great. If not, it's good enough to just have positive or negative. How many times did you check in a day? How many were positive? How many were negative? Now for the bonus work, because this is what really counts, is to identify the thought that created the feeling. So here's the thing. Feelings don't just arrive in and of themselves, right? Feelings always come from thoughts. So it's the thought that creates the feeling, and it's the thinking that is habitual. So if you can get in tune with, well, what was I thinking right before I did this check-in so I can figure out why I feel good or why I feel bad, you're going to start to get some insights in your unconscious thinking that's going on. Because when you think a certain way, you feel a certain way. When you feel a certain way, you behave a certain way. So you take certain actions, and it's the actions that produce your results in life. So if we want better results, we've got to start with the thinking. Let me know what you think about this exercise. Hopefully you do better than I did on my very first time out, and can't wait to hear your results. Give me your thoughts if you would. Take care.